Hello there everyone, welcome back to another Lord of the Rings video, and today I'll be building multiple scenes from the Two Towers, including a scene from the beginning of the film, the middle of the film, and the end of the film. Let's get started. First up, I'll be working on the Rohirrim's ambush on the Uruk-hai, and here are the minifigures I'll be using. Of course, we have the mighty Uruk-hai, and up next we have their dinner.
Looks like meat's back on the menu, boys!
And lastly, Merry and Pippin, and of course, the Riders of Rohan. To start off, I'll be laying down the plates and building a black border with tiles, which is something I haven't tried yet before in any of these builds. In the back of the build, I will be creating the entrance of Fangorn Forest, so I want to have lots of dark brown and even some dark green colors to make the forest feel shadowy and creepy. And here are some of the details with those dark green parts I was talking about. For the rest of the ground color, I'd looked back into my copy of Two Towers and was reading the description of what Rohan looks like, and it's described as rolling green grasslands, so I'm going to change it up a bit from what we see in the films and try to use a lot of green parts. Next, it's time to add some trees to Fangorn so that Merry and Pippin can escape from the battle. Here's what the mock is looking like so far with the grass and other terrain details. Soldiers of the Rohirrim are renowned for their skill on horseback, so we'll need to add some horses to this build. One problem though, I only have a single horse in my entire collection, so I have to travel to Hobbiton and see if anyone there has one I can borrow. And I'll just take this one right here. Let's hope Gandalf doesn't turn me into anything unnatural. And that's my cue. Now we have two horses, which will be perfect for this size of mock. And here we go, this is the completed mock. We've got lots of chaos and little battle scenes going on. Over here, there's an Uruk-hai using his shield as a weapon, and a Rohan soldier is attempting to fight him, and we've got an archer behind him, firing past him, and he's firing at these other Uruk-hai over here who are hiding behind this fallen tree. And as we get to the front of the build, there are several more small battle scenes and minifigure poses, which are a lot of fun to try and achieve, including the horse stomping the Uruk-hai captain back into the ground. And we have another cavalry soldier right here using his axe and hewing down enemies left and right. And that's about it for this mock. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Next up, we will be traveling to Faramir's hidden hideout in the land of Ithilien and diving into the Forbidden Pool. For minifigures, of course, we have Frodo and Gollum. And for Faramir's men, I will be using this custom Big Kid Bricks Faramir and replacing the hairpiece with a hood to make him one of Faramir's loyal rangers. First order of business is to make the pool itself. I will also add a few boulders and one for Gollum to enjoy his dinner on. Attached to the side will be the area where Frodo stands. This will be a fairly muddy area, so I'll be using dark brown to cover most of the ground. I also want to add a puddle where the pool may have overflowed a bit. To add more details to Frodo's section, I built a stony path and wanted to add some olive green parts. The last section of this mock will be the rocks that surround the pool. I'm using some light bluish gray slopes to build up a small mountain behind the pool. For secret detail, I want to add a small passage that the rangers might use to move throughout their hideout. It was a little dark, so I gave this soldier a torch. On top of the mountain, I want to add some dirt and start to add the creek that leads down to the waterfall. I also want to add two trees and use some olive green leaves on those, and also station a ranger behind each of those trees. Finally, using mostly clear pieces, I added this waterfall right here, which goes down into the pool with a splash. And with that, the mock is pretty much complete. Here it is under the lights with the minifigures set up. We have Gollum singing and eating his fish, and of course Frodo behind him, trying to get him to come over, while the tricksy men hide in the shadows. And we have the archers above the boulders, watching the creature below, waiting for Faramir's command to fire. Men of Rohan, it's time to grab your sword and shield and defend Helm's Deep. Our final build in this video will be the Battle for Helm's Deep. For minifigures, we have the Uruk-hai, and in the films, as everyone knows, the elves come to help King Theoden and the Men of Rohan, but we will once again be taking inspiration from the book where no elves are present at the battle. The Men of Rohan must hold out on their own. The first thing I built was a portion of the wall. Taking a page from the old Helm's Deep LEGO set, I used the same color combo of light bluish gray and sand green. The fortress itself is surrounded by rocks and mountains, so I want to add a few rock clusters at the bottom of the wall and throughout the battlefield. Speaking of the battlefield, let's add some terrain. The rain and the stampede of Uruk-hai boots have turned the ground into a muddy mess. For the top of the wall and the walkway, I added some dark bluish gray patterns to help offset the amount of light bluish gray that is on the wall. I also added some plates for minifigures to stand on. With the walkway now complete, the mock is pretty much done. But we are missing one thing. Siege ladders. Here it is, the Battle of Helm's Deep. For the figures, I wanted to do something different and focus on a part of the wall without our main cast of heroes, and focus on the Men of Rohan against Sauron's forces. On top of the wall is where all the carnage and chaos is taking place. We have the brave Men of Rohan desperately trying to defend the wall as their enemies climb the ladders and set foot on the walkway. The fighting turns into close quarters combat, as swords and shields are shattered and broken. A few unfortunate souls are even tossed over the edge and plummet to the ground below to be swept away by the tide of the Uruk-hai army. More brutal combat ensues as the enemy sends countless waves of soldiers up the ladders, and the ranks of the Uruk-hai army below wait their turn to taste man flesh. Out of the 3 mocks, this one was definitely my favorite to build and place figures. Alright, it's time to close the book on the 2 towers. Let me know which mock was your favorite and leave a like if you want to see more Lord of the Rings videos. And as always, Forth Aerolingus!